Okay, I had to do a lot of pleading to get us this job. It's just a fill-in while this guy's daughter is away or something.
Cool. So we're like magician's assistants.
I think we're apprentices. I'll be honest, I don't really know. But for a one-night show, we're making a bunch of money. What are you reading there?
It's called The Book of Magic. Some dude in a trench coat dropped it outside the dive bar I like. His cigarettes smelled kind of funny. But you know what? I thought it'd be good to read up on the new craft.
I don't think we should mess with magic, Dan. We really don't have a good track record with fooling around with the dark forces.
We'll be fine. This one looks kind of cool. Tell me what you think it means. Klaatu Verada Nectarine? Nectu? Sounds harmless enough.
Demons just pulled Zatara into his hat. They're on the loose in the theater. Run!
New rule. No books for you. It's a bat. It's a werewolf? No, it's Supersons. I would rather say Spookysons.
Nope, Supersons.
Alrighty then.
So we are back for our... Is this our second Halloween episode? No, it's our first because we started in November last year.
We did.
So we haven't gotten to cover anything Halloween related yet. So this is our first time talking about all the horrors. Before we get to what we're talking about in the episode today, just wanted to cover some DC news. Joker made a lot of pennies, an absolute fuck ton of pennies. It is the highest grossing R-rated film of all time. Joker topped Deadpool. Just leaving a pause there. I didn't want to follow that up.
And now that staircase is just a
fucking mess.
Yeah, it's a fucking mess.
Michael Giacchino? Yeah, probably, is scoring Batman. He did Rogue One, so I'm very, very excited. Zoe Kravitz is Catwoman, and Paul Dano is the Riddler. So... got a lot of people in this Batman movie so far, and should be pretty good. I'm actually super excited.
Yeah.
Like, from what we've heard, it's going to be The Long Halloween, which is a very long book. Very good.
It's a very long Halloween.
Yeah, some would call it that. And then Joker has an absolute fuck ton of teeth in that book, too. That is a nightmare.
Yeah. Now, just saying that, I can see it.
Is it, it's Tim Sale and Loeb, right?
Yep.
That did that. He draws a really scary Joker. I must have said Logan.
Yeah.
He's probably
Logan.
drawn Logan.
He also, like, in the sequel book of it, he drew a very, very, like, pint-sized Dick Grayson.
Oh, yeah. Dick isn't in the first one, is he?
No.
So, this episode is... about Halloween and one of the annual Halloween specials. DC has been doing these incredible seasonal specials that are probably my favorite thing they're doing right now. It gives them a chance to let a lot of different writers and creative teams get together, which is incredible. It is a lot of talent that you don't see on ongoing books, so I'm very excited to talk about all of these today. Jake, you aren't the biggest horror movie fan?
Nah. But that's because I'm so desensitized to it because of you.
Right. It's not really about the desensitization to it. It's more about Like, it's, I don't know, horror is a reflection of the world around it. So like in the 80s, it was a huge thing. Like slashers and all that stuff got really big because of the Reagan era and living in a world with a human piece of shit. And recently we have been seeing
all the serial killers.
Yeah, a lot of bad stuff going on. And then a resurgence of horror films has happened recently. There's been a lot of really great ones because it's a reflection of the world around it. But today we are covering...
Well, I have been trying to get into horror. I'm trying to understand it because I don't get it. It's never done anything for me.
Well, today we're covering the Cursed Comics Cavalcade. Oh, that was a hard one. We also didn't write that on the script at all. Did we?
No.
No.
But this time we did include the editors.
We did. But there is a lot of characters in this story. So it's more like for 3 or 4 page one-shots about different characters who don't usually get a spotlight. And then including like, you always got to have a Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman story in everything you do. But a lot of these specials are like blow your socks off good. So
we still talk about the Dog Days of Summer special.
Yeah, that one's this one's one of my favorites. That one's, I've honestly loved them all. The Valentine's Day ones are always incredible.
I think I've only read the one that came out right after the New 52. It's been a while since I've read any of the Valentine's Day one.
The Nuclear Winter one last year was awesome.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
There was the Batman 666 in that one. So I'm actually going to let
Man Bat Wings.
Yeah, I'm going to let Jake read all of the character descriptions in this because he wrote them.
Well, there's one that's, it's pretty good.
Yeah, no, that's why I want you to read them because they're hilarious.
Swamp Thing, also known as Alec Collins, who is a biochemist and champion of the green.
So the green is one of 3 forces.
No, there's more than 3.
3 big ones. I know there's the blue and all those ones, but they don't matter. So there's the red, the green, and the rot. So the green is all living things, like plants and stuff like that. All like the floral stuff like that. And then red is all animals, people. Yeah, fauna. That's the word I was looking for. And then the rot is death. I'm going to read the character names, Jake, and you do the rest.
All right.
Batman.
Bruce Wayne is a billionaire philanthropist, and, who doesn't know Batman?
Wonder Woman.
You didn't want to do it.
I thought you were doing it.
No, that was for you.
Well, we lost it.
We did lose it. Guys, Dan wanted to do a little thing early on in the podcast where anytime we admit that Bruce Wayne is Batman, he was going to say, wait, Bruce Wayne is Batman? And I set it up for him, but he didn't do it.
Well, Jake was supposed to read the character descriptions, but...
I did this for you.
That one's not even... The best ones are later.
Oh, yeah, no. All right. Wonder Woman. Amazon warrior, Amazonian princess, Greek god, all badass.
Guy Gardner.
A ring-slinging smartass with a heart of gold.
I am still not over his song in Young Justice. He sings about his ass.
Yep.
Fuck. Guy Gardner is one of the greatest things that's ever happened. Etrigan the Demon.
Likes to rhyme and can do it anytime unless he's Jason Blood.
What is his rhyme? Be gone, the form of man, and rise the demon Etrigan?
Gone, the form of man. Yeah, something like that.
It's not be gone. It's gone, the form of man. Mm-hmm. Okay. There's an issue of, I want to say it's 6-pack, where
he starts rapping.
Him and the Phantom Stranger rap. Or is it the Spectre? It's the Spectre.
Yeah, I think it's the Spectre.
Superman.
The most down-to-earth, godlike being to ever land in Kansas.
Green Arrow.
An archer with a penchant for wearing green, can afford other colors, and Dan wrote this, king of flashbacks.
Because even in this, he has a flashback.
Yeah, he does.
Black Lightning.
Educator and electrocutioner. Electrocutor.
I really love that one.
Educator and electrocutor.
Bagnighting's back. Katana.
The slicing and dicing taker of souls.
Also in the Oscar award-winning Suicide Squad for like 30 seconds. Robin.
Damian Wayne has many furry friends.
Solomon Grundy.
One-time crook, many-time undead creature, always born on a Monday.
Zatanna.
Okay. Drakab. Nkaips. Surtsim. Fo. Sigam.
Wow.
I told you I was practicing. And from when, I did the thing. Backwards speaking mistress of magic. Speaking is hard to say backwards.
So, the big theme of this episode is Halloween. We just wanted to do a special because we love these things and I really love horror movies.
So you didn't like my description for that one?
Oh. Which one? Shit your pants hard, JK Halloween, or A, you like Halloween? Hey,
you like Halloween?
So let's get to
why we chose this one. Spoopy. So
we're going to treat this episode like we treated Action Comics 1000. We'll do the teams before we do the story. We'll tell you the story name and all that stuff. But something special about this book and all of the different seasonal specials, they're all edited by Alex Antone.
I think it's Antone.
Yeah. Cool guy. He follows me on Twitter. That was a big moment for me. And Dave was August. So, first story, Swamp Thing in the spread. Also, I can't believe you did Swamp Thing and you didn't write Swamp Thing. You are amazing.
I told you. I didn't want to. I was trying to make it ominous.
Swamp Thing.
We're gonna get struck with copyright.
They didn't, so we won't.
You right.
Our story opens with Erin Wagner. I'm just going to say Wagner because that's how I know the Wagner last name. Awakening in a forest with no idea of how she arrived there. She stumbles upon her dog who suddenly starts to break apart into a monstrous plant monster as the green lashes out at her.
Hold on. Monstrous plant monster.
Yeah, I wrote this pretty quick this morning.
Yeah, I took my time this time. Except on one of them.
Yeah, I'm working on the biggest comic book of all time right now. So my brain's a little fried with all things comics.
That's fair. That's not fair.
Where was I?
Turns out
that Dr. Wagner is trapped in the green inside herself. Swamp Thing appears in her lab before leaping into her body, Honey, I Shrunk the Kid style. I don't know if they ever jumped into a human body, but that's what I think about. So he goes back into her body to change all of her blood cells.
Now that you said
fungus.
this, now I'm only thinking about Aquaman and the Atom.
Where they go into Batman's body.
Yeah.
Turns out she was working on a genetically modified yeast that would turn human cells to plant fiber to survive on sunlight alone. And then she tested on herself. It all went wrong, and eventually it would become a mutant virus in her body once her body made the antibodies, which would take and make all plants into flesh and trees into bones, which is horrifying. The red would swallow the green. So Swamp Thing actually intervened to not save her, but rather to save us from her. That was a fun one. The art was very reminiscent of like old Swamp Thing and not like New 52 style artwork.
God, it is such a colorful thing, and until like one page where it's just kind of drab. But I just enjoy
that's the real world.
Yeah, the real world is very drab, and I just love the colors.
I love Swamp Thing. I'm really I didn't say who it was written by. What a piece of shit me. The writer was friend of the show, Tim Seeley.
Yeah.
Art was by Kyle Hotz. The colors were by Show Placencia. And letters were done by Steve Wands. You're up.
Batman in Gorehound. Written by Gary Dauberman. Art by Riccardo Federici. Colors by Sonny Go. Right? What does it sound?
Yeah, go.
Letters by Steve Wands. Wands.
You got it.
I know, but I said wand. Fog covers the night at the Gotham Woods camp, where all the counselors have been killed and set up by a flickering fire. And the narration goes, "He's coming for you. He only comes out at night. He wears a mask." As a woman is on the floor being tracked by a masked man with a machete, surrounded by the blood of the camp counselors in the main hall. In his narration, Batman explains the Gorehound is a killer who sets up scenes from horror movies, but that ends tonight, as the Cape Crusader finds the masked man and woman. But something isn't right with the man, as the machete is bound to his hand. The man is tripped by a wire and unmasked by Batman, who already knew this man was not what he was shown to be. What is underneath the mask only confirms his suspicions, as this man is the victim, who is gagged and masked. The victim pleads with the Bat that he was not the perpetrator, but the Bat already knows this, and catches Gorehound, revealed to be the girl who wanted to be the final girl, the one who got away from the masked monster, described in the beginning of the story. That beginning narration, that monster is Batman. But it's alright, as the Bat tells her that she'll like her new home, as he hears it's haunted. It is Arkham Asylum.
I love this one because of the horror movie tropes in the beginning, like how they show the different, like the camp counselor, all that kind of stuff. Also, the idea of the final girl is a huge horror movie thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a huge, what's that? Cabin in the Woods is one of the movies that really examines that. But all the major horror movies have their people who get away, like Nightmare on Elm Street has Nancy. And then, what's Halloween have? What is her name?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm not a huge Halloween fan. Although John Carpenter, we saw him. I always liked Freddy's mine, so Nancy is the final girl that I've always known. But next up is Wonder Woman in Siren Song. Wonder Woman! Writer Vita Ayala. Artist Victor Ibans. Colors by Matthew Wilson. And the letter is Clayton Cowles. Clayton, he pretty much letters a ton.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of reoccurring ones, especially in this. And then there's the next story has that name that I always struggle with.
Is it Tom Napolitano?
Yes, Napolitano.
Yeah. So people have been disappearing in Greece when the fog rolls in, a song drawing them out. And when the fog disappears, there are only traces of the person who never returns. Wonder Woman begins to investigate and finds a siren who begs her with song not to leave her alone. Diana begins to tell us a story about a fisherwoman and her lover, a painter, who was coveted by another. The other, the rival, as she's referred to as, after trying to get the painter to fall in love with her, it does not go to her liking, so she kills him and throws him into the ocean. The fisherwoman goes in after him, and they both perish. The gods see this, and they decide to punish her. What they do is curse her with a life of solitude, watching others find love, but never her. Eventually, she threw herself into the sea, looking for death, but the gods are cruel and also granted her immortality. As time passed, she became as much of a monster on the outside as she was on the inside. The story of love and the darkening of it weighed heavy on Diana her entire life. She believes that love is a tool so powerful that we must choose to use it for empathy and good instead of letting it rot us like the rival. She rescues one of the survivors and returns to the shore with them. But at the end, we find out that she let the siren escape, as she was raised to not come at things from such a dark place. Which,
Maxwell Lord.
yeah, she, the siren's gonna kill other people, right?
Yeah. That was. Wonder Woman would have killed the siren.
Yeah. I like the story a lot because I really love the narration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the narration is really good.
But yeah, Wonder Woman, she's pretty. She's killed people.
Yeah, she's the god of war.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she is.
I mean, yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right. Guy Gardner in life sentence. Storytellers Kenny Porter and Riley Rossmo. Colors by Ivan
Palencia.
And letters by Tom Napolitano. Where is our ill-mannered space cop, you may be wondering? At an Earth-themed planet. Oh, fuck me, I said it wrong. I'm going to start over.
You get one chance.
One chance to say it again?
Yeah, you got to go again.
Yep. Where is our ill-mannered space cop, you may be wondering? At an Earth-themed resort planet on vacation. Until Sarlacc calls him into action to stop a prison cruiser from crashing to the planet. Only strange thing is the cruiser is surrounded by a bunch of corpses of a wide variety of alien criminals. After entering the craft, our green-jeaned ring-slinger.
Wow, that was good.
That was actually really hard to say.
Yeah.
Is set upon by undead prisoners who all speak the word home in some shape or form. Cutting his way through, Guy comes across a familiar sight, the symbol he wears proudly on his own chest. But this symbol is on a lantern that is connected to a Green Lantern corpsman that is now fused with the ship and his own ring, and it's hard to even say he's alive. But this corpsman is angry at the Corps for keeping him away from his home, as duty calls far too often with far too few rewards. All he wants is return home, and questions Guy of how he can do it without even the slightest bit of recognition, to which Guy says, it's about helping people, nothing else. The man-machine ring hybrid decides Guy is right and self-destructs, destroying instead of destroying part of his own home. In the wreckage, where there is nothing but Guy, a ring, and a skull, the ring flies off to find a new lantern as Guy is called into duty to take on some pirates, but he's clearly shaken from his last interaction.
This art is incredible.
I love this. Is actually one of my favorite story of all of them.
So my question is, are they... So they don't put them as writers, they put them as storytellers. Do they put them as storytellers when they do the writing and the pencils and inks?
I don't know, but I think that might be a good question to ask a future interview.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering the same thing when I was writing this.
This is the only one, but this is the only one that doesn't have an inker or a pencilist. The Demon in Yellowjack. Written by Gabriel Hardman and Karina Bektu. Artist by Gabriel Hardman. Colors by Trish Mulville. And letter Clayton Cowles.
Before you jump in, that also just makes it more confusing because Hardman does both writing and...
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's going on.
New Orleans in 1853. The yellow fever is a plague upon the city, killing in mass. Sioban is the servant of the widow of Horus Circe, who has been dismissed for the evening. Upon returning to her quarters, she finds her husband, who has been missing for 3 days. He grabs her, which she seems fearful of, even before he becomes the demon. She heads into the city to find Jason Blood, who she knows deals in such matters as this. He's not a doctor of medicine. He turns her away, but returns when the demon combusts a police officer who is speaking to her. Jason makes the demon retreat so they can take her husband to the crypt of Horus Circe, who was an amateur mage. Jason Blood had gone to the crypt previously to get the demon out of his body and into the body of her former employer to trap it there. It didn't work as Jason hoped, as the demon jumped from that body to her husband while he was cleaning the crypt. Jason returns the demon back to his own body, and it has returned from the feral form which we saw it in before. Etrigan snaps her husband's neck, as he knew that he had been violent even before his illness, and he was violent to her. This one was super dark.
Yeah.
The art is super. It really fits. I love Jason Blood because of the white streak in his hair.
Oh yeah.
It really doesn't matter. Any character with a white streak in their hair that isn't Reed Richards, I love.
That's fair.
Because Reed Richards is the fucking worst. But yeah, it ends with, like, where killing is concerned, plagues are indiscriminate, quite unlike the choice made by mortals. Alas, the line between our selfish natures and the demons hiding within is not always so clear. I was like, God damn. There's some philosophy on that bitch. All right. Yeah, you're next.
Before we go into this one, without, spoiling it, have you ever dealt with this?
Sleep paralysis? Oh. I mean,
dickhead.
I mean, it's fine. No, I've never.
I know a lot of people that have.
Yeah, it's a common thing. I've never dealt with it.
Yeah, neither have I.
My demons just haunt me while I'm awake.
Dan, your cat is not a demon.
She is. She sits there and watches me.
All right. Superman in Strange Visitor. Writer Magdalene Visaggio.
Mm-hmm.
Art by Minkyu Jung. Colors by Jordi Belair. Letters by Josh Reed. In the middle of the night, Clark Kent awakens, unable to move as a dark figure with glowing eyes looms over him, covering his face. The only thing he can see between the creature's fingers is his wife. Our hero is later seen cooking eggs and bacon as Lois comes down exclaiming that he's up early. He explains everything, that he couldn't sleep because of this, and she just says, sounds like sleep paralysis. But the Man of Steel has doubts that it's a simple sleep paralysis. The next night it happens again, but the figure looms over Lois and goes through her hair with his fingers, forcing his body up. Our hero attempts to blast the figure with his heat vision, waking Lois with nothing else to be seen but a shaking Kryptonian. He explains he can't stay if this comes back. But the next night he's in bed. They're in bed together again. Only this time, one of them isn't sleeping. When this figure approaches Lois, saying, House of Jor-El, suffer, die. As Superman springs his trap that scans the being, revealing that it's the original prisoner of the Phantom Zone, Zadu. That sound right?
Yeah.
Zadu. Zadu's plan was simple. Scare Clark Kent into ruining his life through fear. While Zadu had not actually escaped, he managed to create find or create weak spots in the Phantom Zone to project himself to enact this plan, but it failed, mostly. Superman is left concerned by this event as he looks over back to the projector, wondering if it's ever going to happen again.
Yeah, I like ones where Superman is weak. Like, there's some things that can affect Superman, and they always go for his family because that's his weak point.
Mm-hmm.
But he outsmarts them. The next one deals with one of the scariest monsters. Green Arrow in The Monster in Me. Written by Michael Morisi. Pencils by Felipe Watanabe. Inks by Jonas Trinidad. Colors by Romolio Farado Jr. And letters by Duran Bennett. Oliver Queen has been working himself to the quiver during a scorcher in Seattle. While in pursuit of a robber, he is tripped up by a grotesque giant version of himself. Black Canary stops the crook, but she is worried about Oliver, who just saw a monster that wasn't there. He tries to explain to her that he had seen it before on the island, where he was trapped in his younger years, where it told him that he was weak and he had so much more to prove. It helped him save himself by pushing him. After that conversation, Oliver collapses onto the road before he wakes up in a tub full of ice at home. The monster is there again at the door, telling him that he is weak, before Oliver finally fights back. It shapeshifts into Black Canary, before the monster tells him that deep down, it knows that he wants to quit and just live a normal life, but Oliver says that he'll never stop. Diana finally shows up. Dinah finally shows up and reminds him that no one is more aggressively dedicated to this than him. One hell of a way for self-doubt to appear, isn't it? The monster is just his self-doubt and insecurity.
Yeah.
That one hurts.
I was surprised that you were having trouble saying Dinah.
Well, I wrote Diana instead of Dinah.
Yeah, I was about to say, because your dog's name is Dinah.
Yeah. The only reason I fucked up is because of my own writing. I really like this one because it's not a real monster. It's just one that's like real, and actually scary. But yeah.
Turns out that it was actually just a Martian Manhunter following him around.
Yeah, just playing pranks on him.
He's like, this man ate my last cookie.
Fuck this guy.
All right. Black Lightning and Katana in Mercy Killing. Written by Brian Hill. Art by Dexter Soy. Colors by Veronica Gandini. Letters by Carlos Mangual.
Mm-hmm.
A snow-covered Japanese home is the destination for our next story, as Black Lightning and Katana stand guard over a young girl named Mariko. Fuck. The young girl is afraid of the dark, as the demon will get her if she's seen in the dark, as she's been twice visited by this demon that has her and Katana worried. Lightning, not knowing much about Japanese culture, still understands children, so he makes the young girl a light made from his lightning. The outsiders talk as Lightning is a little out of his depth on demons, especially with the demon mother that takes children, which may or may not be the one that has caused multiple children in the area to go missing. Lightning says that Katana probably would have been better off contacting John Constantine, who Katana says should never be around the innocent, but a teacher like Jefferson? That's a no-brainer. Katana goes outside to check the perimeter. As if on cue, the demon mother appears before Lightning, asking if he thinks she's pretty, with her big old venom teeth and tongue. Whew. Dan, you ever like think of that? Like something comes at you with those kind of teeth?
I think she looks like, I think it's Katana from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yeah.
No,
right.
it's not Katana.
No?
It's the purple ninja. It doesn't matter. I haven't played Mortal Kombat in quite some time.
All right. Well, Black Lightning's response is a simple lightning bolt to the stomach. Claiming that all the children are hers, the demon mother tells Lightning that he will die alone tonight, to which Katana busts in, also as if on cue. And Jeff says, I'm not alone tonight. And with a swipe of the Soul Taker sword, Katana hits the demon mother, who is not drawn into the blade, but drawn to Mariko. To save the girl, Katana reveals that the demon hates light, so that Black Lightning does exactly what Black Lightning gives her. Weakened, the demon mother is cut down by Katana and sealed in the sword. Katana explains she owes Black Lightning and that now the demons know of him and that they'll be after him, but he's okay with that.
It's Melina, and are they the outsiders at this point?
Melina
from Mortal Kombat.
Oh, okay. What to say?
Because Brian Hill did end up writing Batman and the Outsiders, but I don't think they were technically the Outsiders yet.
Who knows with this timeline anymore?
Yeah, but I think it's interesting that he wrote this now he's writing Batman and the Outsiders.
Yeah, this felt more...
It just felt like a regular
Yeah, it
story.
felt like a regular story. It didn't feel really spooky.
Yeah. It's good.
It's good. But this could have been drawn out a little longer into its own issue.
Yeah, it could have been an issue of The Outsiders, really.
Yeah.
So, next up is the unlikely dynamic duo.
Another one of my favorites of this.
Robin and Solomon Grundy in The Devil You Know. Writer, Dave Ozilgas. Artist, Christian Deuce. Colors by Romulo Farado Jr. and letter, Tom Napolitano, and then editor Alex Untone. He's specifically mentioned on the page. Our scene opens with Damien riding Grundy like a bucking bronco, as he's been running around all of Gotham City screaming 3 names in every neighborhood all night. It turns out that Grundy hasn't really hurt anybody or done anything wrong. Grundy starts crying and says that he needs help, which is very unlike Grundy.
Well, Grundy changes a lot from every time he's revived. It's interesting.
So it turns out he's looking for his family. Robin agrees to help him, but he kind of gets a little brash. He's like, I'm going to beat you, Grundy, unless you tell me the truth. Grundy starts to tell him the story about this demon who'd been torturing him. And Grundy gets a little bit emotional and takes a swing at Robin, thinking that he is with this demon, and he calls Robin Little Demon Boy. But Damien apologizes for being so brash and says that he just wants to help him. Grundy has taken in 3 runaways who he had protected, and they loved each other. They fed him, and he protected them. He was being a good person. So he tells Robin a little bit more about the demon and said he broke off one of the horns. The horn is on the floor, and it's actually a pig ear, because it turns out the demon is Professor Pig, who plans to turn these girls into Dolatrons. Robin swears that he will save them from Pig no matter what, and he understands that Grundy is afraid. He understands that he doesn't want them to get hurt, but Robin won't let that happen. Robin realizes that the only place that he could be doing this is the cosmetics factory, where Pig is actually holding them. Once Robin gets into the facility, Pig actually gets the drop on him, and the Dolatrons have him ready to hurt. Then Grundy smashes through the window in his glorious Batman style. They both shock Pig unconscious as Robin quips, "Pig roast."
That's my favorite line in the whole collection.
What happens next is why Damien is my favorite Robin. Grundy gets down on his eye level and says, "No one ever helped Grundy. You did. You listen. You not demon boy." And he says that he won't forget it. but due to Grundy's nature, he will forget. But Damien says that he hopes he doesn't. That hit me where it lives. This one, this blew me away. Like this, I read this when it came out, and this is the story that like sold the entire collection to me, because not only is Damien written perfectly, Grundy is written with such, like, you have such empathy for him, and you just want him to find these girls who he's been just like fostering. And then Pig is written so sassy. At one point he says, "Don't worry, girls, I'll start intermittent fasting, join CrossFit, and be the perfect man you brag to your friends about." Pig is such he's a Grant Morrison character, but he's such a weird, sometimes he's like this operatic weirdo, and sometimes he's just sassy, but all of those fit the character. He's just so fucking out there. His whole thing is about looking perfect and things like that. In this story, like, he is wild.
Oh yeah, Pig is great.
But the Damien, I love Damien so much.
This was a great story.
It sells why Damien is the best Robin, because he learned from Dick to listen and actually care about people, while Bruce would just beat up Grundy and not ever follow through and find out what's actually wrong. Damien's like, wait, there is something wrong. Let's talk about it and I'll help you. Despite Grundy being a bad guy. I love this story so much, and I think Dave has only written one other story. I think it was in a Valentine's Day special. And it's about Green Arrow. And like no writer catches.
You mean he hasn't written another story about from this point, right? Because this was what?
I think this is his first. So I think this was 2 years ago, but that doesn't matter. He wrote a Green Arrow story set in the future, and like nobody catches, I want to say, interpersonal relationships and love. Like these two stories do, because the other one's about him and Diana. It fucking knocks the ball out of the goddamn park. I really hope we get to see more of his writing, just because, like, my favorite thing about these superheroes and people in capes and stuff is like they actually care about people, and getting to see Damien not be a murdery little brat that some writers write him as is awesome, because he's learned from the most empathetic, friendly, loving person in the entire DCU. Yeah. And he is 100% better than his father and his mentor. Whew. Sorry, I just really love Damien, and I really love Professor Pig.
Damien's great. I'm currently rereading through all of the Damien stories.
All right, and then the grand finale.
Zatanna Inn, Halloween Hayride. Writer, James Tynion IV. Pencils by Mark Buckingham. Inks by Andrew Pepoy. Colors by Jordi Belair. Letters by Darren Bennett. There is nothing scarier than a haunted hayride and creepy corn maze. Wouldn't you agree, Dan?
Yeah, I don't really hang out in corn mazes too often.
Because you're terrified of them, of course. But our last story of this episode ends on a lighter note. Our backwards wordsmith has decided to attend a small town's haunted hayride. She turns to see this young girl named Sammy and her brother Judd approach, as Judd says this hayride scared him so bad at her age that he wet himself, mainly as an attempt to get out of his brotherly duty to take her there. But Sammy's not deterred by anything her brother has just said, and her brother hands her some money to go grab tickets so that he can actually go talk to his friend, who almost ruins their plans to scare Sammy into going home so that they can go to a horror event. And Zatanna confronts the boys, who are head over heels for her as just first sight. Just love at first sight. And then she ends the conversation with a spell. And they're like, oh, it's just some goth chick. An hour before, Zatanna is complaining to her father that he promised that she would have the night off and they would go back to Las Vegas after the show, but Giovanni wants to hang out and hand out candy to the children from his dressing room and watch some Twilight Zone episodes. I mean, magic monsters and being nothing out of the ordinary for her, she feels a disconnect from Halloween, but her father feels differently, as it's a special day because you get to see ordinary folk who normally would want a normal life most of the year, embrace their world, and only once a year, and that they should embrace them back. Back in the now, Zatanna goes to the hayride to meet Sammy, who, by Zatanna's observations, looks nervous. They exchange names. Sammy says Zatanna is a weird name. Zatanna agrees, and that she can ride with her. Through the power of a few magic words, the wagon starts moving, and Sammy's a little put off by this, saying her brother was going to come, but little does she know her brother's in the hay fiddling with his mask. The masks are brought to life by Zatanna, scaring the boys. Sammy hears their screams and is also scared by that. Assured that the noise was just from the speakers, Sammy closes her eyes and holds on to Zatanna, while she expresses that she wants to show them that she was brave enough to ride this. Zatanna tells her to picture something in her head, something that she wants to see, which for Sammy is not too spooky, but just a little scary. With a reverse word to make it real, it all comes to life, and she has Sammy open her eyes. We see jack-o'-lantern scarecrows, skeletons, sheet ghosts, a witch with a little black cat, which is also what Sammy's costume is. And Sammy's enjoying herself. Her brother and his friend, however, are scared to the point of tears, which Sammy points out. Just after pleading to get on the hayride, the brothers note that the production value of the ride has gone up since they were kids. Zatara watches his daughter from his crystal ball, proud that she's embraced the fun of the day with mundane folk.
So, in this story, throughout the entire thing, in the hamburgers, what is the edge of the page? What do you call that? I want to say the wings, but there's a name for the sides of the page.
I should know this because I've worked on things like this. But the margins, the borders, the margins, the gutters.
The margins. That's it, the margins. So in the margins the entire time are these like pumpkins, skeletons, and little ghosts. And when Zatanna makes them all real. It's
exactly all of Zatanna's, of Sammy's, what Sammy wanted to see.
Right, so it's all in the sides before that page, but in that page they all come into the panels themselves. It's a really cool visual. Like, it's really, really cool. And at the end of the entire issue, on the back of the book, is a DC logo, but it's a pumpkin. I really like that.
That is nice.
Clearly, my favorite story was the Damien one. Jake?
I have three favorites. It's the Guy one, the Damien one, and the Zatanna one.
And then my favorite moment was the Damien and Grundy on the same eye level. Because I think it says a lot about both of their characters.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
And then my favorite quote was, "I'm saving us from her," from Swamp Thing. Because like that's not normally what you see in a superhero story. And then, what's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote. I think it's the last thing that Damien says.
Oh, the remember thing?
Yeah.
Normally we give you some suggestions on what to read, but because it's Halloween, I'm going to give you some of my favorite horror movies so that you should watch. Jake, do you have any that you would suggest?
Horror movies?
Yeah.
Horror movies. No.
Okay, so I've got a couple. So, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. That is my favorite horror movie of all time.
I assume you've already watched it 5 times this month?
I haven't watched it once this month.
That's uncommon for you.
Yeah, I'm going to watch it Wednesday night. I usually watch it like nonstop, but I've just been so busy that I don't really have a chance to watch things. I also started this horror movie documentary turns out it's 4 hours long. But it's about like the 80s and all that stuff. But so Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, Hereditary, Scream is a really good meta narrative one. I won't say Gremlins because Gremlins is a Christmas movie.
Damn right it is.
But yeah, Killer Clowns from Outer Space and Nightmare on Elm Street 3 have killer songs. Dream Warriors by Dokken and Killer Clowns from Outer Space by the Dickies. So they're also big Halloween moods. And then the new It. I really like the new It. Less of a horror movie, more of a blockbuster. I really love just anything. There's a lot of weird ones. But if I'm gonna say one that describes my personality, it's Nightmare on Elm Street 3, The Dream Warriors. So you can find us at Twitter at DC Supersons. You can find us on Instagram at SupersonsPod. You can find us online at supersonspod.com. You can support our show at patreon.com/supersons. Is there anything else?
Dan really loves the Monster Mash.
I fucking love the Monster Mash. Last year it was my number 1 played song on my Spotify. It's not even because I really just think it's a fun song. I was working in my lab late one night. What if I just did the whole Monster Mash?
I know you could.
Yeah, so our next couple of episodes are going to be a lot. The next episode is we're watching The Watchmen. Not actually watching The Watchmen, we're reading it. I'm not going to watch the movie again because it's like panel for panel, so the tomato. And we have our friend Sam on from The Beat. And then we have an interview with a colorist who is an absolute delight. And then our anniversary episode, which is we've done something for a whole year and we have not had one episode late. Knock on wood. Yeah, but you can catch us same bat time, same bat channel.